man do, he shall live in them. I am the Most High Ahaya. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Most High Ahaya. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Okay, so this is going into the practices that the Most High is showing the children of Israel, opposed to the Egyptians and the Canaanites and the other nations outside of Israel. When you read Leviticus 18, it says, you are not to practice the ways of the Egyptians, and you are not to practice the ways of the Canaanites. So you're different. You cannot deal with your kin or your relatives, or what we call down south in America, kinfolk. That's where kinfolk came from, the scriptures. Or your close relatives. Not like the Egyptians or the other nations. So when you look at other cultures, they deal with all these different practices. But the Most High made it clear that we are to stay separate from what they do. So between Leviticus 18 and 19, we'll get a clear indication of what the children of Israel are to do, opposed to the rest of the world. We cannot do things just because the world is doing them, or think that it's okay because the world accepts it. I'm going to read 8 through 14 and pass it over. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. And the Most High was specific there, because suppose something happened where your father have a child someplace else. You're still not supposed to link him with your sister or your brother someplace else, no matter where they're born. If they're of your mother or father, you cannot uncover their nakedness. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for there is thine own nakedness. That means they're still yours. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sisters. She is thy father's near kinswoman. So some people might be asking, okay, in modern day relationships, you may have someone who deal with someone who have children from a prior relationship. Even though that's not bloodline, they still fall under the law of the mother and father once married. That means once they're married, you cannot go deal with your ex-wife or your wife's children, because these children have now become your children. All right? So that still applies. I know some people look at the loose ends and say, well, okay, she have no blood from me whatsoever. But if that daughter is the daughter of your wife, she is now your daughter. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinsman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman. That means your aunt. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. Aunts and uncles are off limits according to scriptures. Now, there is no limits of the Gentiles. They deal with whomever they want. That's how they operate. But the Israelites had rules. Okay, you can go next, brother.
15.
And then work your way clockwise there.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. 16. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. She is thy brother's nakedness. 17. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman. It is wickedness. 18. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister, to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. 19. Also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. 20. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife, to defile thyself with her.
Read the 21st verse.
Oh yeah, I'll do 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Most High thy power. I am the Most High thy power. 22.
And when it says, under the fire to Moloch, that's a promise. Usually the firstborn, or your children, firstborn son, firstborn, usually the firstborn, goes to the Most High. You had the Gentiles who would actually do rituals in prayer to another god with their newborn. That's bringing their children under the traditions of that particular system or that particular god. The similarities of bringing your children under Moloch today is like if you have them celebrating Easter, if you have them dealing with Halloween that's coming up. That's a god. That's Moloch. Okay, that's a perfect example of your children dealing under the traditions of heathens. What's next?
22.
Verse 22.
You
Thou
take,
shalt not-
Hazel, you take 22 to 28.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. That's homosexuality. Go ahead.
It is an abomination.
It is an abomination. Now there's certain things that's just sin, and there's certain things which are abominations unto the Most High. Which is it's not even regarded as what you would call in our modern terms human-like. It's outside of the normal progression of a way a person is even supposed to think. Okay, that's what an abomination is. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast and lie down thereto. It is confusion.
Therefore, it is confusion. Why? The spirit of confusion comes on the animal too. And that's big amongst the Romans and the Grecians and the Europeans. They will adopt a pet in a moment to do all types of alternative things with these beasts. Cats, dogs, all that. So, and it totally confuses the nature of the particular species. It drives the creature crazy. And then you have initiations in colleges where young men have to go deal with sheep and deal with animals and farm animals as an initiation into some of these covenant fraternities. Now, some of these things you would wonder, they shouldn't even be written down, right? Well, like, why should this be a law? This is what mankind relegates to. This is how they think. So the Most High is just breaking down the most minute thing, because if it's not a law, people will actually try it. Okay? Read on. Now, and not only that, it's another thing I seen about a year ago, where this guy and this woman got together. These two, Americans down south in America, white Americans, and they got together on the premise that this guy fell in love with this woman's horse. And all three of them agree that this is what should happen. And they have a happy family, them two and this horse. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube and see it. This is a natural thing. And and she really gets motivated when he go out with this horse. What verse are you at here?
Verse 24.
Go ahead.
Verse 24, defile not ye yourselves in any of, verse 24, defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled.
All these are the nations are defiled. This is the difference between God's people and heathens. And you notice how they try to make, if you look at these things, you look down on these things like something is wrong with you. You're not up to date. You're not up to the new way of doing things. That's the old way. When the nations have always been like this. The nations, the Gentiles have always operated like this. It's not as if they just found some newfound feeling towards progression and trying different things. They've always done this. Really, now their lifestyle is being promoted and pushed on us. That's what it's really about. It's not about convincing themselves. The Gentiles and heathens through all cultures have always operated like this. And people like to point to the Egyptians. The Most High is actually showing Israel what not to do straight after coming out of Egypt. These are the things a lot of the Egyptians did. Until this day, if you go to Egypt and check out some of the characters that's operating there and how they have that in place, it's no surprise. I mean, you'll see some things. Of course, you have to stay sheltered because there is a civil society in Egypt that stays away from these things. But if you go amongst the villagers and those that are desert and all that, they still deal with a lot of this madness. Okay? Read on. What verse? When you go back, make sure you say chapter and verse.
Yeah. Chapter 18, verse 24.
Go ahead.
Which I cast out before you. Verse 25. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomiteth out her
inhabitants. So this is showing you your actions in the earth actually have something to do with the land turning against you. So that's a natural progression. If there's immorality in the land becomes defiled itself and fights against you. Now, think about a land that make laws for these things to happen. It's as if they're looking to implode the inhabitants of the land, to implode the whole country. If you make laws where it's okay for your military to go out and have sex with animals while they're in Afghanistan or whatever the place is. So they know there's a spiritual law in which the land fights against those who deal with these abominable ways. Read.
Verse 26. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you.
So if a Gentile is sojourning amongst the children of Israel, that means they're following the laws of Israel. They're not to deal with the customs of their heathenistic people. They are now to break free, because some people ask, well, suppose strangers begin to follow the truth. Well, following the truth is keeping the commandments of the Most High. Okay? That's what following the truth is. You just can't just say, I accept Christ and I'm going to be a Hebrew and be amongst the people, but I'm going to continue in the ways of the Gentiles. You might as well stay in the heathenistic customs and follow the ways of the Gentiles. The difference is the law. Read.
Verse 27. For all these abominations have the men of the land done which were before you, and the land is defiled. Verse 28. That the land spew not you out also, when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you.
Because their sins had the land fight against them. Okay, go next.
Leviticus 18:29. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Verse 30. Therefore shall ye keep my ordinances, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am Ahio. Chapter 19. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of Israel, of the children of Israel, say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I am the Most High. I am holy. Ye shall, verse 3, ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am Ahio, your power. Verse 4, turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am Ahio, your power. Verse 5, and if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Most High, ye shall offer it at your own will.
Now, that's good. You can keep it there. That's 7 verses. All right. Now, as you can see, molten images and idols are all of the Most High. I mean, all of Satan, excuse me. Molten images are against the Most High. Let me make that clear. Now, you notice in all these shops and stores, you liberally see these pieces that you think are knickknacks or just pieces that goes in your house, but they're really idols. And you have spirits from the heathen that are prayed into these little idols and statues that you purchase and bring into your household. So you have to be careful when you go to these stores, these little shops, little cultural shops, to know who's running, who's doing what, before you go pick up something and bring it up in your house. You got to have the knowledge of what type of spirit this person is dealing with that sold you that product. Or you're going to let demons up in your house. A lot of people don't know this. I go into stores all the time and I see little Buddha statues, little things that you might think is cute. I see people who buy the little knickknacks with the little egg on the top of it and have the little egg knickknacks because they think it's cute and there's a color scheme to it. But really, these things are from ancient Babylon. And you have druids and witches and sorcerers who create these things and pray jinns, which they call it in Persia, jinns, which are genies or demons, into these particular knickknacks. And it comes from the Persian understanding of Aladdin, of rubbing certain things and rubbing the lamp. And then a demon comes out and do a wish. That's why they call these things charms or good luck charms. You see people who have something with them all the time, and you're like, what you doing with that? Oh, it's for good luck. You know what I mean? Or you see somebody kiss something for good luck, saying, oh, my mother gave me this 5 years ago, and I use it for good luck. You have created an idol. Any molten thing, anything, you have to be careful. A lot of our people are guilty of it. We'll go to these cultural shops because we feel like we need to attach ourselves to something black, even though everything was black before Europeans came on the scene. Because we feel it's black, we go out to some African voodoo shop someplace and get some mask, some wooden mask with hair around it, and go put it up on your wall. And you think that, okay, this is cultural, this is black. You done let demons loose in your house. And we do this all the time. We go to these witch doctors, these sorcerers, we pick up stuff and bring it in our house, and then all types of confusion starts happening, and you don't even equate it to what we picked up. That's what the Most High, all these nations do it. You go into one store, they selling you the Mary and the so-called Mary with the child, little trinkets, the little pictures of so-called Jesus, which are such a Bogier. There's images everywhere, and I wanted to just punctuate what the brother just read on the idols. That's big, because why? These are demons loose up in your house unknowingly. What's next? What verse you left off at? You left off at 5, right? Yeah. So now you're doing 6 through 13, the next person here.
Leviticus 19, verse 6. it shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow, and if aught remain until the third day, it shall be burnt in the fire. And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable, it shall not be accepted. Therefore, everyone that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the hallowed thing of the Most High. And that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Most High your power. You shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Most High power. I am Ahijah. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning.
Okay, 14 through 21.
Leviticus 19:14. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear thy power. I am the Most High. Ye shall do on verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge their neighbor. Verse 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer amongst thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Most High.
Whole 16, but you got 17 through 21, but I wanted to say something on thou shalt not go up down as a talebearer among the people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Why does it say stand against the blood of thy neighbor? If you are a talebearer, even though you think it's innocent or you're telling the truth, or you're a person who likes to spread information, that information could lead to a brother or sister actually getting killed. That's why it says stand in the blood of thy neighbors. How many times amongst our people we see some sister or brother went back and told someone something, and the next thing you know, a fight broke out and someone was killed or shot or stabbed? That's because you get this one person who usually lives through this all, that goes through, and when they hear something, they just can't hold it amongst themselves. Or you can have a person not only hear things, but this person actually go out and look for things to tell other people. That's a talebearer. You got to be very careful of people that comes and are always trying to figure out what's going on so they can talk to other people. And a person have to be mindful of that spirit themselves, because sometimes you're dealing with it and don't even know it. You cannot be a talebearer to spread information. It doesn't matter whether or not the information is true or false. If you're feeling something about a brother or sister, or if you see something is wrong, the normal reaction to heathens is to go tell other people about it, because that makes you higher than them, because you can see what's wrong. Instead of holding it to yourself if you see something wrong, and go to the brother or sister and see like, you know, what you did make me uncomfortable, or you know that wasn't right. You talk to your brother and sister about it, and then your brother or sister will look at it and say, you know what? I should correct that. I'm going to correct that. I apologize. You give a brother or sister an opportunity to hold their dignity, opposed to you being a talebearer to demean or diminish the person. Then war breaks out. Then there's blood. It usually start with a whisper. The scriptures call it a whisperer. And the Bible also talks, when it links into Timothy's, about being busybodies. That means you're idle, so you say things you're not ought to say. You understand? You have to be careful with that too, because one thing we will give account for is every word that proceedeth out of our mouth. We will give account for that. Christ said that. So be careful, because a lot of us, it is hard to understand this particular law in the world of social network. Talebearing, here's a perfect example of talebearing in our modern technology. You dealing with something, you got a spirit on you because you feel in a certain type of way. But now, instead of you dealing with that like people did of old times, in one way or the other, you go on a social network and spill out everything you're feeling at the moment, even though you're being used by a spirit at the moment. Or you may tweet it or put it on Facebook how you feeling at the second, not knowing how it's going to affect everyone else, or not caring because this is what you're dealing with. These things all fall. See, Satan made a platform, have given you a platform for those who are usually shy to still operate in talebearing. So I'm just putting that out there, because talebearing leads to someone dying. Okay? What's next?
Leviticus 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke their neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
You can't hate your brother in your heart, which means you can't look at somebody or look at a brother or sister and be like, I can't stand that person. Why? Because everyone has something about them that someone might not care about. But the Most High loved that person equally. Nonetheless, regardless of what any of us feel about each other, the Most High loves us all the same. Read.
Verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love their neighbor as thyself. I am the Most High. Verse 19. You shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle journey with a diverse kind.
That means you cannot mix your cattle with other animals like they're doing with these bioengineering animals they're feeding people now. You're not supposed to mix animals. I see people trying to mix a horse with a zebra and all types of madness. Donkeys with zebras. Taking cattle and mixing it with another cattle. To a point now they don't even want to feed animals what the Most High made them to eat. Grass. Grass is free. They're feeding cattle to other cattle, which also is breaking them down and changing their makeup. Read.
Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come up with it. Verse 20. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid betrothed to a husband, and not at all redeemed, nor freedom given her, she shall be scourged. They shall be put to death. They shall not be put to death. Go ahead. Because she was not free.
Because she was not free. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And he shall bring his trespass offering
unto the Most High.
Unto the Most High, until the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, even a rent for the trespass offering.
Now the trespass offering is simple. A trespass offering under the Old Testament came when you trespassed or did something against another person. You made it right with the other person, then you went to the priest with the trespass offering, admitting that you trespassed against another brother or sister. And then that sin was forgiven. That's how it was. That's what a trespass offering is. But Christ says we have to forgive trespasses as the Most High forgive those that forgive us for trespassing against them. So he will, in Matthew the 15th chapter, it tells us he will actually forgive our trespasses to the degree we can forgive others. And I hear some people make this claim, well, I'm going to forgive, but I'll never forget. Well, if you'll never forget, you didn't forgive. Okay? That's the whole point of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for you to hold a grudge. So I don't know where people get some of these unbiblical terms from that sounds as if they have knowledge. Someone asks, well, can you forgive me, please? Well, I'm going to forgive you, but I'll never forget. Okay, then you're going to continue to punish me or go against me based on a trespass that I'm asking you to forgive me for. And they use these movies, these little black movies and all that, to put these little statements out where everyone is using in the neighborhood. Well, I'm going to forgive you, but I'll never forget. Well, guess what? That same law applies to you in the Most High. Suppose you ask the Most High to forgive you for the trespasses you have done against him knowingly, and he's at you talking about, well, I'm going to forgive you, but I'm never going to forget. Man, so that means on Judgment Day you're going to bring this up? Okay, so I'm just giving us some normal examples here. Go ahead, next 7.
Right, Leviticus 19 and 22. The priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering before the Most High for his sin which he hath done. And the sin which he hath done shall be forgiven him. 22. And when he shall come into the land and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then he shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be uncircumcised unto you. It shall not be eaten of. 24. But in the 4th year all the fruit thereof shall be holy to praise the Most High withal. And in the 5th year shall ye eat of the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you the increase thereof. I am the Most High thy power. 26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times. 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Most High.
Okay, let me clear up some of these laws for everyone that's looking at this here. When it says that you should wait before you pluck certain fruit when you go into a land. Why? Because just because the tree or whatever is bearing fruit doesn't mean it's at its top increase. The same way that tree is still growing, it's becoming strong to nourish you down the line. So the Most High gave us a period to know how long that we actually have to till the ground, water the plants, and keep the tree strong until it can yield fruit throughout all the times we'll be there. Not like our system today that rapes everything and takes everything, and now the trees are not yielding its increase. You're not giving the tree a chance to grow root and become strong and yield more. Therefore, famine happens. So that's a living organism. When we plant things, these are living organisms that needs time. Right? Also, making marks on the body, which is tattoos, is against the law. All right, as we can see. When it says you shall not mar the corners of your beard, these are things that was done to mimic gods. Similar to what you would see on the movie Apocalypto, when they had those marks on their face and they had their hair cut a certain way to gods. It was specifically speaking of operating towards gods. All right? What's the next one?
29.
Go ahead.
Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Hold up. That was it, right? That's the next man read, right?
Oh, okay.
No. You might.
29.
Verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter, to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
Now you know this is talking about pimps. People taking a woman, prostituting her on the street, and it does what? It defiles the whole land. And the majority of Europe, prostitution really, and it's including America, it's legal. They tell you it's illegal, but the cops, everyone run the prostitution ring. They all get payoffs. It's part of what makes the system operate. And that defiles the whole land. Go ahead.
Verse 30. Ye shall keep my Sabbath and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Most High Ahia.
No, you're supposed to keep Sunday.
Ye shall keep my Sabbath and reverence my sanctuary.
No place in the Bible does it give credence or clearance to Sunday worship. Not one place. Zero. Not one place you can go into the Bible and it tell you to deal with Sunday worship. And see, I like to point this out there, because how can these people claim they following the Bible and dealing with a day as their most holy day of the week, and it's nowhere in the Bible? It's at variance against the Most High's own words. It's at variance with the Creator. They did that on purpose. The Most High say the seventh day, Satan say the first day. At total opposite of the Most High. Read.
I am the Most High Ahia. Verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Most High Ahia.
Now, what is familiar spirits? Let me put this out there, what familiar spirits are. Familiar spirits are when you are tapping into an outside medium besides the Most High. Now, no man cometh to the Father but through Christ. So I can pray in the name of Christ, but I'm not seeking another spirit somewhere to direct me. That's a familiar spirit. Any types of mediums are familiar spirits. We are not to deal with them at all. Zero. Why? Because they come in the spirit of good, because they have knowledge from old time. But once they're in, it's hard to get rid of them. Because you tapped into them, because you responded to them, they don't want anyone else. They want you. So some people let them in through Ouija boards, through different types of science, whatever you do. Be careful operating with familiar spirits, because once they're there, it's poltergeist. You notice this time of year, all on your theaters, they're showing scary movies and haunted houses. No one even asks, if these stories are true, why are these people being haunted by familiar spirits? What is these stories about? 9 times out of 10, someone in that house opened up a vortex and started worshiping Satan in that house. Some people want to play with Ouija boards and think it's fun. Oh, we're going to do this for a moment. It don't stop for a moment. One time we had to go to a sister's house, call in real time, because she was dealing with a Ouija board and she thought the whole ceiling was on fire. And she was crying and screaming. We went to the house, makeup down her face, and I'm like, sister, it's not on fire. And we started praying, and she totally got calm, but she was shaking as if her whole room was on fire. We went to the house, there was no room on fire, but she was in the corner shaking, scratching, makeup everywhere. These are the things we've experienced. Why? Because you let in familiar spirits. You get with your friends and think it's a joke, and say, well, let's play with it and have this thing guide you. And now it's not leaving. You can put the board up, but it's there. And the key point about this, when it comes to these familiar spirits, brothers and sisters, is that the construct of our cities, especially the illuminous Masonic cities like America, every place, you got statues and idols everywhere. Demons, there's hordes of demons. If you can look in the spirit world and see how many demons just frequent your space, it would blow you away. But the whole deal is, they put Milton Bradley and all these different corporations have put these little tools in place in which you can slow up a spirit and it will identify with you. So it's not going to move out your house. It's going to stay right there until some invocation happens, which means you call someone with an exorcist, in which one demon have power over the other demon to move it out of the way, but yet he stays. Or you can figure out who the Most High is and call on that name and banish a house altogether and get all the idols out of your house, because they look to live in substance. Be it vessels of wood, vessels of clay, vessels of stone. They look to live in real material. Now, a lot of you might think this is weird, but this is the truth. And then they'll go into animals, or they'll go into quarters of your body and just stay there, and you'll think they're gone. That's where fasting comes in. But it first starts with you opening up spirits. If you open a door, these things don't easily leave. I'm telling you. They don't easily leave. Sometimes you got to go 5-6 days. No food, no water, no nothing. Just so they can just leave you alone. Because they don't like that. They hunger and thirst. So they'll find, it's easy to go someplace the way this world is today and find someone obese. And they'll just go that route. Sometimes you just got to deprive yourself, or they won't leave you. Talking about familiar spirits. Read that part about familiar spirits again.
Verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them.
Neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. Why? Wizards have ancient knowledge. So you might be intrigued with a wizard. Okay, they have knowledge, and a lot of what they use can work. I see sisters and sometimes brothers go to people for love potions, and I want this person to care about me, and I want to know more about this and that. Let me tell you, they have knowledge that they can give you, but it's for a price. That's why I don't look into no horoscopes. I don't deal with none of that mess. I don't deal with none of it. Why, listen, whatever come in my space, I can understand that. But I'm not going to go look for some demon. If it's not in the scriptures, I'm good. And some of people, because it works, you think it's good. You have some people who now, their whole mind is, they're bugging themselves out because they dream so much. And now they got the knowledge to try to break down dreams. Well, you have just become a wizard, a sorcerer, or something of the like. That means you should stay awake. Wake up. The Most High says only a little folded of hands. You don't need that much sleep anyway. So when people start going into their dreams to the point where it becomes an alternate reality, they start tripping out too with these familiar spirits. They're not talking about the scriptures no more. They're just going into their dreams. And the Bible tell you about that. It tell you about that. Familiar spirits operate that way too. I know some people that go out there with, I didn't see it. I had a brother that was dealing with that. He would go around you and he'd be like, yeah, I can tell, man, something happened to you when you was about 15. I'm like, man, just go up the street, okay? I don't want to, listen, something happened to everybody at 15. Get out of here. I'm not even entertaining your space. You don't have to figure me out. I'm down with the Most High. I don't need you to feel deep right now. And my little brother, he was gone. He was walking around one time in North Philly. He was walking around in bars, breaking down people's dreams. I'm like, brother, you're going to lose your life, man. What are you doing? He's like, but everybody tells me I'm getting it right. I'm like, brother, let's go into these scriptures, man. People bug out just to get some notoriety. Another thing, I know this Mason who owned a place where all the women in the neighborhood would go to this woman to get information. And you know what? This woman, the Mason, the guy that owned the place, had the woman there. And this woman would break down everything in the neighborhood. And she was correct. People used to pay this woman money. She was a witch. They would go and feel something that's going on in their relationship, and they would go to this woman. He's like, yeah, this is where he's at. This is who he's with. And right now, you got to think about what you're going to do, because this is what he's doing. And they would pay this woman $200-300 just to find out what's going on in their relationship. And usually, if you're feeling a certain type of way, and you know what's going on, you don't got to pay this guy, this woman, for confirmation. But she used to give minute details, and all the women in the neighborhood would go pay money to this woman. She was a witch. Okay? And we all have this. We see our mothers and our aunts go to these people to pay them money to put something down in their house. And first thing, they'd be like, well, seemed like someone done put a root on you, or someone that did a prayer against you. I need, you give me this amount of money, and I'll give you this, and this, and they'll never mess with you again. That's all rampant in our neighborhoods, to the point where you think that's normal, with your mother or your sister or your aunt sitting down with a witch or a sorcerer. And you know where they always like to go. Well, Joseph was dealing with dreams. Well, that was Joseph. Okay? The Most High was setting Joseph up to prepare the earth for 7 years of plenteous and 7 years of famine. Why? That 7 years of plenteous, in which all Egypt would become rich, is what the Most High would utilize when Israel left Egypt to become a great nation in the new land of Canaan called Israel. So the Most High was having the sources and the resources consolidate into Egypt to fulfill the promises of Abraham going into the land. That's what that was about. That was a specific prophecy about the Most High fulfilling his promises with Abraham. That's what that was about. So Joseph wasn't just running around breaking down people's dreams. All right, he wasn't making that. That wasn't a employment for him. The Most High actually showed him 7 years of plenteous and 7 years famine. And once it all happened, that's when Joseph understood what the dream was about. The Most High was preserving him so that his people in the earth could be saved through a 7-year famine. You can't compare yourself to what Joseph did. The Most High tell you, if you start following your dreams, eventually you're going to get put to death. That's what it says in Deuteronomy. Why? Because there's some dreams that are from the Most High, and then there's other dreams in which you can't decipher. So suppose you start believing all your dreams are from the Most High. You understand? Read.
Verse 32. Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head, and honor the face of the old man, and fear thy power. I am the Most High, Ahia. And if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, ye shall not vex him.
That means if there's another nation living amongst you, you can't vex him because he's not Israel. Read.
Verse 34. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you.
Period. So if there's a Gentile amongst us, he's to be or she's to be like someone that's born amongst us. We can't treat them a certain type of way because they're not from the loins of Jacob. Read.
And thou shalt love him as thyself. For we were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Most High, Ahia, your power. Verse 35. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meat yard, in weight, or in measure. That
means you're selling something or whatever the case is, and you know you're getting over one another person with it. Cheating people when it comes to weights and balances. Read.
Just balance, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hin shall ye have. I am the Most High, Ahia, your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them. I am the Most High, Ahia.
Go ahead. To do 7. We have Leviticus 20 and 1 through 7.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. And I will set my face against that man, and I will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given off his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man, when he giveth his seed unto Molech, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut him off, and all that go a-whoring after him, commit whoredom with Molech from among their people. And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirit and after living, to go a-whoring after them. I will even set my face against that soul, and I will cut him off from amongst his people. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and ye be holy, for I am the Most High your helper.
That's crystal clear. That's giving power, all power to the Most High. All glory to the Most High. No Moloch, no nothing else. Right? Okay, I think that concludes because he's in the room, right? Malak, go ahead, Malak. You got 7. Go ahead.
Verse 8.
So you're doing 8 through 15, right?
Verse 8. And ye shall keep my statutes and do them. I am the Most High, which sanctify you. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. He had cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him.
That means you can't be cursing or your mother or father. And some of us, we grow up not even understand the implication of that. Wishing something, I wish something would happen, wish you get hit by a car and all that mess. And I've seen Gentiles, and even on TV, this is their normal way of operating. And when I was growing up, you claimed that something was going to happen to your mother or father. Listen, you come up missing. That's the answer to that. All right, and I'm serious. People think it's a light thing to say you wish something going to happen to your mother or father. And then you had, I wish I was never born. Listen, we can take care of that too. And that's the problem with this system. They teach you to be disobedient to your parents as if it's okay, because once you are detached from your parents, who's your mother and father now? Satan, the government. Read.
Verse 10. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress, shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion. Their blood shall be upon them. If a man also lie with mankind as he lie with a woman.
If a man lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, read.
Both of them have committed an abomination.
The one that's on the receiving end and the other guy too. They both have committed an evil, wicked abomination. Read.
They shall surely be put to death.
And according to the law, they shall surely be put to death. Therefore, the societies of this earth look down on the Bible based on this passage. They ignore all the good of the Bible and want to throw the whole Bible out because the Bible does not accept filthy intercourse. Why? There's no life that comes from that evil. Read.
Their blood shall be upon them.
Their blood shall be upon them. Read.
Verse 14. And if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you.
Now the Most High was straight to the point on these things, man, as you can see. Straight to the point. Listen, we're not going to make a reality show out of this. You deal with a mother and a daughter, all of you going to get burnt at the stake. That's the end of that. We take your furniture, everything that showed your prior existence will be burned right there. There's no record of you in the earth. It's over. Now, see, that's why when you read the New Testament, it says, let no man judge you on these holy days and things of that nature. And the Christian church don't deal with that. The Christian church make you think judging is telling somebody that they're doing something wrong. That's not judging. When you read the judgments of the Bible, it's talking about putting people to death. So when Paul says, let no man judge you, that wasn't let no man correct you. That was, you're not going to come up in our churches killing people without place for repentance. We must first give our people an opportunity to see they're wrong and repent before you just open up a law and get ready to kill people up in here. That's what Paul was speaking of. So you see how Christians have distorted the word and make you think that you can profane the Sabbath because it says let no man judge you in respect of a holy day. That means you can't kill someone for not following the Sabbath. That doesn't mean the Sabbath is still, that doesn't mean the Sabbath is done away with. That means I can't execute the judgment against a person for breaking it, but the Most High can. All right? Anyone else? Oh, we got that? Oh, we should. Okay. Do Ryan want to read 7 or? Yes. He would do 15 through 21, and that would be it for that. Now, the key thing about this, the key parts that we're trying to bring out is the Most High is just showing the difference between Israel, the children of Israel, and the heathens. More proof that the people in Israel cannot be the people. Because everything we see here is being promoted by them. Everything the Most High said not to do, they're promoting through their movies, their films, their series. If the Jewish powers are running Hollywood right now, how is it none of the laws of the Most High are being executed or being promoted through any of their films? Everything is homosexuals and all types of alternative lifestyles and man with man, woman with woman. How is it these people, the people of the law, claiming to be the people of the law, promoting all atheistic teachings, Darwinism, sci-fi, straight death and killing through everything we view, desensitizing us to the laws of the Most High? Yeah, we just need you to read 7 real quick if you don't mind. 15 through 21, please. 15 through 21, yeah.
Leviticus 20, verse 15. If a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and he shall slay the beast. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lay down thereto, they shall kill the woman, and the beast they shall surely put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing, and they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness, and he shall bear his iniquity. And if a man shall lay with a woman having a sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, he hath discovered her fountain, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood, and both of them shall be cut off from among their people.
And I know some people think that why should this be a law? Because the people out there deal with this. They'll wait till a woman's time and all that and start dealing. Totally evil. Read.
Verse 19. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor nor the father, sister, for he uncovered his near kin, they shall bear their iniquity. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness, they shall bear their sin, and then they shall die childless.
And that's crystal clear. That's crystal clear, all right? And that's just, they're just referencing some of the laws we read in the other chapter. So there's the laws. You can read the whole chapter. Everyone got 7. I just wanted to make sure we understand the difference between the children of Israel and the heathen. Some people want to ask, well, what's the difference? Because we hear that all the time. God made everybody. So what's the difference? Everybody was made by God. Yeah, but everyone did not receive the law, statutes, and commandments. What makes us different is we are a people of law opposed to heathens. That's the difference. So when people ask, well, what's the difference? That the Most High don't discriminate. He do discriminate. Okay, that's a lie. If it's right, he stands with it. You can't, if he's against homosexuality, you call it discrimination. So if that's your definition of discrimination, the Most High discriminates. Because he make it clear the things that's acceptable unto him. What's that? Yeah, what's going on here? Yeah?
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday? All right. So that's crystal clear. All right.